I'm Bill,
I'm Chase.
and this is Wildcat Chat, the home of all things Kentucky basketball. All right, welcome back to Wildcat Chat. January 21st, we're going to recap the Alabama loss at home, and then we're going to preview the Vanderbilt game. I'm Bill.
I'm Chase.
Before we start, do a little icebreaker.
Icebreaker. Podcast producer Brian's got himself a mic, and he's going to just give us an icebreaker that we have no idea about. Let's hear it.
Who gave him a mic?
This is the craziest thing ever. Now I can finally talk to these goons on
Oh,
the podcast. So your icebreaker for today, my dudes, sticking with the movie theme we had last week, if you could take one prop from a movie set, what prop would you take?
Boy. You first.
Oh, I know.
You're the movie
All
guy.
right. It was my favorite movie all time.
What's your favorite movie of all
Yeah.
time? You told me this.
Yeah, we did.
Paddington 2?
It's Paddington 2. No, it's Jurassic Park. The raptor claw that Alan Grant has, the one that he uses, yes. I wanted a replica of that for so long.
You don't want the Barbasol can?
You can just replicate the whole roll.
Yeah.
In your backyard, you've got velociraptors and T-Rexes.
But no,
around.
I could pick lightsaber. I could pick all but that, for some other reasons from my childhood, that's always been the one thing I've wanted from a movie.
Yeah. What about you, Bill?
Man, that's a tough one. I am going to go with, from the movie The Rock, I'm going to keep it Nicolas Cage themed, and it's not the green spheres of death. I want the Hummer that they had in The Rock, that 1990 black Hummer that went racing downtown the streets of San Francisco.
Okay.
I want that car to have and own. That's my dream car anyway, so that's the one piece of it.
I like Chase picking something small and kind of like, oh, this will look good on a shelf, and Bill's like, I want the car.
Yeah.
I want the thing
I want
can
the
drive around
1992
town.
Hummer. So.
All right. Well, I will watch The Rock one of these days and find out what that Hummer looks like. I know. Sorry.
You've never seen The Rock with Sean Connery.
No, I'm sorry.
Winners go home and hang out with the prom queen.
I grew up in
It's
a
not
very
what they say.
conservative household. R-rated movies were not allowed to be watched, and if it was in that time when I was a child that it was R-rated, I have to go back and find them. I will do it for you.
Please do it for me.
I like It's Michael Bay, right? Yeah.
I have a friend, a neighbor. It's a friend of mine that has never seen any of the Dark Knight trilogy.
Oof.
And I didn't know how to respond to that. Like, how do you respond to that?
He was born in the dark.
He literally lives in the dark, and he must be Amish too.
Yes. They
How-
reenact it by candlelight.
How can you be a grown man and not see the Dark Knight trilogy
Some people just don't appreciate Christopher Nolan,
or Christian Bale?
but we appreciate him in this house.
This is not. I don't live here. What's your favorite Nicolas Cage movie?
Oh,
Is it The Rock?
I think one of the first R-rated movies I watched without my parents' knowledge was Face Off, so I just always had that love of it. But I was the right age as a kid for the. Why am I blanking? The one where they're trying to find the Declaration of Independence.
National Treasure.
National Treasure. Like that. That's probably it.
Do you remember the scene in Face Off where he's like in the priest outfit and he like grabs the girl's butt and he's like, oh! It's probably the funniest like 5-second scene I've ever seen in my life. Nicolas Cage is great.
He's great, and him acting like John Travolta and John Travolta acting like Nick Cage is fantastic.
It's a great movie. I might watch
John
it.
Woo, director of Mission Impossible 2. Here we go. Bring it all back, baby.
Full circle.
Tom, you good? All right, let's go.
I was getting ready to say Tom's here. You can't see him. You literally stole it. I love it.
Like the Declaration of Independence?
You know what Nicolas Cage is not good at? Playing basketball. So let's talk about what he's not good at. Let's talk basketball. So what happened? I got some takeaways, but I want to throw it to you first.
I sadly said we were probably going to split, but I thought it was going to be the reverse. I thought we were going to come out Tuesday, not looking sharp, and win on Saturday.
Yep.
I'm going to say I wasn't wholly critical of the loss. They did a lot of good things. It wasn't one. We'll go into the stat line, but for a team that was in the top 5, first loss at home, but we only dropped 1 in the rankings. I'm not that upset about it. Is that weird?
That's exactly how I felt.
Okay.
I was like, man,
No, there's
Alabama is a Final Four team.
And I was so impressed by what they did Tuesday that it didn't. Now, if they had lost both games, that type of loss on a Saturday, I would have been very mad.
Now, to that point, so we lost 102-97, which is crazy, by the way, the score. I knew right away, like 5 minutes into the game, it was going to be a.
Yeah,
I think
I
you texted me and
I was
said
like, I think this is going 142, 137 or something crazy
it
like
was
that.
like an NBA game. And it wasn't even they weren't playing defense. They were just so red hot,
Mhm.
on fire, and great offense. Probably the best two offensive teams in the country, give or take.
I would agree.
Very impressive. What went wrong in this game? Why do we ultimately lose?
Ultimately lose. If you look at our stat line in comparison with Alabama, they only won a couple of the things in the columns. Like if you go shooting percentage, field goal percentage, 3-point field goal percentage, all us, we had less turnovers. They weirdly had more points off their turnovers, even though they turned the ball over more. What it all came down to is when they fouled us, it wasn't shooting fouls. When we fouled them, they were all shooting, and they attempted more free throws than we made.
Yes.
We were 16 of 20.
Yep. Which is a great number.
It's not terrible. They were
90%.
Yes, they were 29.
80%.
29 of 34. They made almost 30 points off free throws. I know Pope talked again about they're not going to admit what they found out, so they're not going to try to tip off other teams. But
Did you like his approach there? He's
Yeah.
like, we've been watching these games and seeing what the refs are
Yes.
calling, and we figured out a way to where we're going to put ourselves in this situation to have more free throws, which is a really nice way of saying, hey, ref, screw you.
Yes,
Call it fair both ways.
and that's
I know where your mother lives.
Yes, it seems like
That's what I would have said.
Amari got another offensive foul. It seems like when we try to play aggressive, they call us offensively, but they can just do whatever they want, which is weird. Like if it was in Alabama, I'd understand it. This was in Rupp.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating.
Do you feel like we get the call at Rupp ever? Like, do you feel like,
No, I think it tends to go against us more often than not.
how do we fix that? Do we just end the program and start
They
over?
found the algorithm, but they're not going to tell us.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Is this like Calipari's tweak?
No, I think this is going to be based on data and like actual, not like a gut feeling.
Instead of a
Yeah.
feel. Has he won a game yet in the SEC?
Still no.
No.
Still no.
We're in like late January at this point.
I feel bad. Yeah, it was a year ago yesterday, the big Z first game,
Yeah.
and you're just like all the high of that, and you're just like 1 year later, that poor kid's not doing anything. The whole Arkansas group's not gelling. It's a bummer.
There was
I
an
feel
ESPN announcer, I think, that said the reason for Arkansas's failures this year is because UK fans. And I was like, make that make sense. They said there's too
Wait,
much
is this-
pressure
is
on
this
Arkansas.
The Seth?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, come on. Between him and Jay Williams, just
Jay Williams.
yeah.
Anyway. Jay Billis, as being a Duke guy, can at least shower praise at teams other than Duke, even though he does laud Duke up. But Jay Williams,
not a Jay Williams
oh
fan.
my gosh,
Most
I
hated
would understand.
Duke player of all time.
Well, I can't say the name of the one I think's the most hated because I brought his name up once and I got accosted heavily.
I have a shirt that says I still hate him.
Him?
Yeah.
I hate brr, brr, brr.
CL. Are we in the
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
we're in the same.
Yeah, when you stomp on a guy's chest and they don't call it, they don't get ejected from a game.
What about Steve Wojciechowski? Do you remember him? Look him up.
Gosh,
After you watch The Rock tonight,
yeah.
you need to look up Steve Wojciechowski.
I would say Garrett Allen is still like Grayson Allen is still the guy in my era. Is just what a toolbox. Sean Penn lookalike we've talked about before, but
I'm not a
just
fan
like-
of either one of those humans.
Yeah.
I know you're big on plus minus, which I love about you. One of many things I love about you.
Thanks.
That's the biggest one, though. Did you know that Mohammed Diabate is that?
I didn't hear it being announced. I had to watch that game on mute because I was with
Intentionally, or
nephews because they had the game on Saturday at noon, so that's fun. But I saw his name a lot.
Yeah,
on
he was plus
boards.
21.
Yeah,
and he
There was-
played 15 minutes. That is impressive.
there is a stretch where attempted three miss,
Yeah.
offensive rebound, attempted 3 miss, offensive rebound, attempted 3 make. 3 attempts, 3 threes, gave them 3 possessions and 1 side of the ball. That's going to kill us. But I understand sometimes you shoot threes. Those are wild rebounds, but
Not if you're Dennis Rodman. If you're Dennis Rodman, you're ready for him.
Big O.
I think the
You're
pink hair,
Big O.
the pink hair helped
Yeah.
secure the
I loved watching him play.
Big O, yeah, because they understand where the ball's going.
Well, you have to. It's
You have to have a knack for it.
it's geometry.
Amare doesn't know where to go.
No, well he doesn't put his hands up. He doesn't put.
Minus 15 on
Yeah.
the plus minus, by the way.
I had some good things to say about him from the Texas A&M game, but
And then it's all.
yeah, it's
So,
rough.
Last podcast, I had said Mark Sears, and you were like, I think I remember him. Do you know who he is now?
Well, he sure attempted a lot of
The
shots.
dude is
yeah.
a stud.
Yeah,
He really is a stud. That's why I think they're a Final Four contender, because you always need a really good guard, and he's a guy that's going to get you 20, 30 every night.
mm-hmm.
So he killed us. He got to the free throw line. I feel like every time he had the ball, something good was going to happen. We got to talk about Grant Nelson. I mean, this guy is definitely hated. I don't like this guy at all.
25 points, but he made all his buckets on twos and he shot 10 foul shots, but almost made all 10. He made 9 of them, but it's just like,
And he had 11 boards. I feel like every time he drove to the lane, like he literally would like dribble with his right hand, and he was just shoving people with his left hand, like punching them, or like uppercutting them.
but if we did that,
He sub-zeroed once. He like froze somebody in time.
but if we do that, it's an offensive foul. Like, and that's why I hope the analytics, they're looking at the statisticians looking at the tape, find out a way that we can get calls our way.
If Amari Williams comes out on Saturday against Vanderbilt in the first play, he comes down the lane and just punches somebody in the face, would you be mad at Mark Pope or happy?
I'm gonna be honest. Carr's not playing well. I need him playing, and that would be a pretty easy ejection. But here's the thing: they're not going to see it coming because he's coming from the left,
Yeah.
and you're not expecting
No.
it from the left. So, a little southpaw, straight across the
Would
cheek.
you rather fight Mike Tyson or Evander Holyfield?
Oh, jeez.
Full with both ears.
Now, like today,
Yeah.
pace of play, Vander, for
Is he
sure.
still alive?
I believe so.
Okay.
I watched the one. Who
It didn't change my question.
No, but
You
who
could've
did he?
fought him.
Who did he fight? Pacquiao, and that was the most boring fight. And it's just like I would just
Worse than Jake Paul, Mike Tyson?
Oh well,
Did you watch that?
no,
Oh, thank God.
yeah.
You should have watched Face Off instead that night.
I think they faced off.
It was awful. I have no idea how we got there. I know Amari was going to
Reel
come
it back
down
in,
and punch
that's fine.
somebody,
Yeah.
and then Andrew Carr's getting ejected for Amari Williams punching somebody. Not sure how we got there.
Yeah, he should get ejected for going under screens repeatedly or getting the.
We always have one player that's kind of in like a funk mode, right? We had Jackson Robinson. Now Andrew
Yep.
Carr's in a massive funk. Let me ask you this question. I've been wanting to ask you this. Why are we never playing Brandon Garrison and Amari Williams together at the same time? Like, what's? I know they're both our center, but it's okay. I know they're slow.
I just think with Pope having them be at the top of the key, they would have to change their offensive sets, and if
Spread,
that could work.
That's what I see.
Your Twin Towers
That's what I
setups,
see it.
like Florida would do it all the time. It drove me nuts because we would be able to guard one of them,
Yeah.
but
But not both.
yeah.
How do you guard Garrison and Amari? How do you score on those two?
Set a bunch of picks because they don't understand that sometimes you don't just switch every time. But speaking of switching on every play, I at least want to give some kudos to the win we had that week as well.
Yes.
Because we had Mr. Vest, one of your favorite coaches.
Did you see his assistant?
Yes, everyone was joking that he was like a professor from 1875. Like, it was just cracking me
I
up.
was at that game, and when I first saw him walk out, I was like, I couldn't stop staring at him. I was like, Buzz Williams looks older than I thought. And then I kept looking. I'm like, that is not Buzz Williams. So then on my phone, like, did they fire Buzz Williams? And then he comes out, and I'm like, who's that guy? That's like his brother from another mother. He was wearing the exact same outfit. Yeah, it was Colonel Sanders looking.
How did it feel in Rupp when we started off 1 for 11 from 3? Did you feel like everyone was going like, "Ooh, this is gonna be bad"?
Yeah, it was an uncomfortable feeling for sure.
How we rebounded off that was really nice. Speaking of literally rebounded, Jackson Robinson almost had his first double-double of his career because he was missing shots, but he'd get his own rebound.
Yeah.
He would get other people's rebounds.
Yeah.
I was so impressed with how he played and then got hot later in the game.
Yeah.
But starting off as cold as he did and as cold as everyone did and still found a way to win. But I had stats I wanted to bring up from that game just showing about we talked about referee not being like one-sided, but not being equal.
We know where their mothers live.
Georgia's game against us was a 2-hour and 33-minute game.
Oh, God, that was
for a college basketball game. The Texas A&M game was 2 minutes longer because at the end of the game there's just so many fouls being. But which is if it's close, I get that. But there were too many fouls called throughout the game, anyways.
Yeah.
But we'll go to Georgia. Georgia that week that we lost had the same thing happen to them. The second game where the foul differential it was so bad.
Yeah.
This is from this past week. So 75 free throws in those 2 game spans. Last Tuesday when we won, they shot 12 total free throws and they lost by 18. It's the example of that is you're dictating the game by how you blow your whistle.
Yeah.
And I feel if we're 16 of 20 and they're 29 of 34, that's the only reason we lost. Now, I will say, going back to Alabama, I will say one of the other things that was bad, we had a stretch where Duke played well when we played them.
Yeah.
But Cooper
They were
Flagg
beating
made
us.
two
Turnovers,
turnovers.
too critical.
Our leader,
If they would have blew the whistle, it would have been different. They didn't blow the whistle either.
our leader in the Alabama game did that.
Yeah.
Lamont Butler
Yeah.
had out of a timeout when we were down,
Yeah.
I think 2. They went on a 9-0 run because he made back-to-back 2 mistakes and they made 3 threes. Well, it was 2 threes and an and 1 out of it.
How many turnovers did Lamont have that game?
But he's not in. They said this is the best time for the bye because I will say because the Texas A&M game, dude got pummeled.
Yeah.
He got a shin to the face. I kept saying, I was like, did he wear ice skates to the game? Like he was slipping everywhere. He was falling over. He's not healthy. I'm glad we have a bye week this coming week up until we have a week off of playing because we need him healthy. He already was off on a stint because of his ankle, leg, something.
Yes.
We don't win without him. We need him healthy. He hit his head on the court like multiple times, so I'm not saying he was concussed, but I was afraid because he got up and was doing this a lot. Like they don't have blue tents in college basketball, so I don't know. Yeah.
What's crazy to me is that they announced yesterday that in the NCAA tournament they're not going to have any refs in the game, so these guys are just going to kill each other.
That's cool.
Which is awesome.
I didn't read that.
No, I actually dreamt. I wish that would. Could you imagine just no refs, just backyard brawl, make it, take it, and offense calls fouls?
Oh gosh.
So I did want to share a quick funny snippet on Texas A&M game. Wade Taylor, who I thought was going to hurt us, didn't play. And he kept standing up on the bench and like screaming the whole game. And where I was kind of close to their bench. And there was this random like 87-year-old lady in like this. She looked like Cruella DeVille. Like she had like this huge blue like parka woolly coat
dead
on.
dogs all over. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And every time he stood up, she would just scream from the top of her lungs from one side of the court to the other, "Sit down, Wade." And he was literally like messing with her back.
Okay.
He's like, "No, you sit down." Like the whole game they were yelling back and forth. I missed half the game because I was watching these two yell at each other. It was awesome. So
You're like the day in Challengers, just like watching the.
So let's talk a little bit of good on the Alabama game, right? I mean, I guess we both recapped that we weren't super.
Before we go, we'll go good on. We just got to bring it up.
Yeah,
because we talked about a lot. We got to talk about the OA dunk. We got to talk about the Texas A&M posterized of the century.
I mean, that guy's got a family. I feel bad for his family.
You quoted some John Sadak on us. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, that was. The way I sit behind the basket, but the other side, so I got to see it from not up close, but the full court side. And I just turned around and did this, and then like everybody behind me was doing the same thing. Everybody was like, "Oh my gosh, what just happened?"
It was so nice.
And then I did this as he was coming back, and I don't know, but he started to do this, and I was like, did we just have a connection? I'm not sure. I'll text him later and find out, but he's not going to respond.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Buzzing his bench, chirping the whole game, but then getting mad when we looked over. I thought was absolutely stupid. But
that was Robinson too, right?
Yeah.
Jackson and Buzz had something going on because every time he did something on that side, he would turn to them.
But what I read was he got recruited there, but they didn't want him, and
that makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
Hey, look what I can do, and he's like doing the whole like bang bang and the whole.
But you can
what does
tell.
this mean, by the way? I have a headache. Like, what does this mean? All
Locked
the kids.
in. I'm locked in.
What's locked up there?
I'm hostage. I don't know.
Hostage. Help me. Help.
But here's the thing. Here's a trend we're going. Butler missing both sets of his free throws. Owe missing both sets of his free throws. You're in a brawl against Alabama, a very good team. They miss on both halves, the front ends of 1-and-1s. I think Owe was on one of them, or it was either Owe or Butler, but Amari. It's Amari. I get it, but front end of 1-and-1s, you can't do it. So that happens twice in that game. They got offensive rebounds off their foul misses.
Yeah, that can happen.
You cannot have that happen. You are literally positioned to get the ball if you just put a body on somebody.
Is it who's getting them? Is it?
It's usually over
Amari.
Amari.
Oh gosh. You know how many minutes Colin Chandler got last week?
Mm-mm.
0. Do you remember who asked for him to play 0 minutes?
Yeah.
Do you think Mark Pope watches this? Do you think he's like, you know what? To get ready for this week, let me pull up episode
Wildcat
6
Chat.
of Wildcat Chat.
And he's like, things to do.
Do not play Colin Chandler.
Paddington 2. Good job.
How do you feel about Ansley Almanor playing more minutes than Brandon Garrison?
I think he's been a nice spark. I think he seemed to. What was his plus minus for the Alabama game?
-2.
Yeah, I was going to say it
Not
was
bad.
pretty even. Yeah,
He lost by 5.
I
Kobe
felt
Brea was -10. Do you
Yeah,
think you
he's-
can play better defense than Kobe Brea?
Yes, that was
Do
the
you think
one
he
thing
tries?
I tried. That's tough. It doesn't seem like your spot shooter 3 guy.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like every white dude ever played at Florida. Their defense usually is very poor because it's almost like they're thinking in the future of like, where am I going to set myself up on offense? And your idea is they're just going to outshoot their bad performance, but Brea has been cold and he's not playing deep. That's when it's like, I get why he's coming off the bench. That's not a starter type caliber, but he does need to lock that down. And it's always weak side. It's like he forgets the baseline exists. And we talked about it before,
always
but if
goes
you let a
baseline.
guy past you, let him past you. Do not foul him as he's taking the easiest layup in the world, and it just makes it an extra point. I will give this Amari Williams, Texas A&M. He's gotten like 4 straight games of offensive fouls.
Yeah.
That was the worst call I've ever seen in my entire life, and those refs were atrocious.
The refs on Tuesday, was it Tuesday night or Wednesday?
it was
Tuesday night. They were awful.
Oof.
The refs on Saturday were okay. They were better.
I didn't mind it,
Yeah.
but it's still.
Yeah.
It felt like they were calling the same things that we weren't getting called for against us, and that's why. But if you miss a goaltending when the backboard is shaking like this,
Yeah, oh, gosh, that call was just so frustrating. The whole place blew up, not physically, but emotionally, very sad. Andrew Carr had 4 points and 1 rebound against Alabama, and he only had 1 foul, only played 18 minutes. So Brandon Garrison, Ansley Almanor, they were all getting minutes over Andrew Carr. What's your takeaway?
It's his defense, because I'll follow along like the live, like Matt Jones, like what after every timeout, like what's he thinking, and he talked about that the majority of the time is they will work to get a switch and have him.
So they're
against
starting
someone,
to expose him,
and they're just driving right past, like, because or they're set up to where he might go under the screen, and then they're just shooting threes. And he's tall, you would assume that he'd get a hand up, but it just seems like our perimeter defense with our bigs is not great.
Yeah.
I would say Garrison's the best one.
should they just
of the 3.
should they cut him off the team today?
No,
Okay.
no, we need him, but I think also he's also someone that needs healed up with his back and everything. Not being
Maybe
able-
that's his problem.
we have a lot of guys banged up.
Do you think we should hire Bud Kilmer and get in there and give him an injection? Do you know who Bud Kilmer is?
No, but explain.
Varsity Blues.
Oh, okay. All right.
He's the coach.
Yeah.
Let's go, let's go, let's go. And nobody follows him out. Remember halftime, the running back got hurt. He gave him an injection in his knee, and he got back out there. Maybe that's what we need for Andrew Carr. So I'm going to see.
That's definitely what they did with Ben Roethlisberger in the 2016 playoff game when he had no shoulder and just came out being like, "Woo, let's go." The magic juice.
Hey.
Maybe Bud Kilmer is he on the Steelers?
Do you know who played Bud Kilmer in that movie?
Is John Boyd? Yeah.
Who was also in
National Treasure.
Thank you.
Yes. I was like, I think he was.
Full circle.
Yeah, okay.
No game this week.
Until Saturday. Yeah. No.
Until
weekday
Saturday.
game,
No
yes.
weekday game.
But I was like, it's already hard to win on the road.
Yeah.
This might be our best chance. And Vanderbilt comes out and beats Tennessee at home by 1. So what we're seeing is anyone can beat anybody on any given day in the SEC. And I'm hoping that days are good for our health, but I'm not as confident as I was hoping I would be.
Typically, when you see
Saturday.
Vanderbilt on the schedule, you just say, well, there's a win, right? I hate to
Usually.
say that.
Usually.
But unfortunately, Jerry Stackhouse, also known as the Kentucky punching bag, because we always beat him, he's no longer there. So he got fired,
Mm-hmm.
which he's a Carolina guy, so good. I'm glad he got fired.
I mean, if you can't win a lot with Scottie Pippen's kid, like,
Did he make
Yeah.
it to the NBA?
he is on the Memphis Grizzlies, I'm pretty sure.
Like 2 minutes
But-
a game,
but yeah.
no points. Who's
It's-
better, him or LeBron James' son?
Oh, well, in post high school career, did he have a heart attack in college or in high school? I forget when he had that. LeBron James'
I think
kid.
it was at USC.
Okay,
I
so it was
think so.
during
Yeah.
So I would say his college career is definitely not as good as Scottie Pippen Jr., but I think he has more upswing.
If you're taking one right now, who are you drafting?
Probably Scottie Pippen Jr.
Would you
Sorry-
take Scottie
sorry,
Pippen or LeBron James right now?
Oh, right now,
Yeah.
LeBron James.
I think everybody agrees with you. Can we talk about Memorial Coliseum real quick? Just, it's like they're on stage.
No,
They built this. We don't want to do it.
I hate it.
Why do they do it?
I've played one time in my career with an elevated stage, and it's weird, but the addition of it being raised,
Yeah.
and the benches being on the opposite ends, not along the side, that's what's stupid. I think that is the dumbest thing. You get an obscene advantage for one half of the game, and the other half, it's like, call a timeout. Like, it's just
They're like holding up
like,
signs.
it's so dumb.
Like in that football where it's like peanut butter and like
You know,
car.
you have
and
the
like,
technical with the coaches for like where they can run.
Yeah.
Like, how do you do that when
I
you're
don't
on the
think
ends?
that'll-
Like,
it doesn't happen
It doesn't
there.
exist in
No.
Vanderbilt. Yeah, so it's like,
Do you think if Tom Cruise was a coach there, they could see him because of the elevator stage?
you see some better. Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Got it.
No, I think we heal up. I actually do feel confident. I've been pretty good on my predictions. In my head, I didn't even tell you about this, but I was like, when I saw that it wasn't going well, we actually were like, what happened was Alabama went on 3 stretches of 9-0 runs. That's gonna.
It's hard to beat.
But
Yeah.
on one of those 9-0 runs, I was just like already like, this game's probably a wash.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
We came back.
We did come back, but we lost. But I was like, all right, always playing well.
21.
If we lose, even though OA plays well, I feel bad. But I feel like if we do lose this game, both OAs have to lose. And the Baltimore Ravens did also lose. So I felt good about that. I'm going to use this momentum of these kind of good predictions. No, we win by 9.
Would you give your left foot for the Bills to beat the Chiefs this weekend?
100%.
I've already sent mine in.
Yep.
You were wondering what happened down there. I sent mine
It's
in.
going to happen.
Do you think the whole world's rooting for the
Yes.
Bills?
But I did see somewhere someone was like, gosh, 3 straight losses against this team in postseason opportunities. Like, you got to root for them because how in the world can you lose 4 in a row? There's no other team that's done that in postseason opportunities, right? Not the Bills in the Super Bowl for 4 years.
If you
I
had
was
to
like,
marry
oh, no.
one, Josh Allen or Tom Cruise?
Josh Allen. Is he already still engaged to the Haley Steinfeld?
No idea. Does she come with a package?
That's what I asked. If she comes with a package, then
I didn't put that in there as a placeholder. Isn't Tom
a
Cruise
man
married?
can dream, Bill.
Is Tom Cruise married to other than Scientology?
Well, he was to Nicole Kidman, who is 9 feet taller than him. Fun fact.
Who's taller, her or Mark Pope?
Ooh, Mark Pope.
So Vanderbilt.
Yes, Vanderbilt.
Their leading scorers, Jason Edwards.
Yeah, he has like 17 a game. I was looking this up.
He only plays 23 minutes a game.
They stack up in terms of points wise, like field goal percentage.
Yeah,
we're pretty much even.
Yeah,
we just are able to get more shots per game than them, so we average about 7 to 8 points more a game. I think we get the boards. We
win. This is like the one team
100%.
that I just don't know anybody about or anything. Mainly because Vanderbilt went like 9 wins, 25 losses last year. So
yeah, and they're 15-3 right now, which just seems like every SEC team except one is like that. Their top rebounders under 8 a game. Amari's almost 9. That matchup, I feel confident. I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Jeez, Pete, I'm hoping.
Who do we need to play well this weekend to win?
I think your boys, Jackson's been on a streak. I think always been
consistent,
solid all year. Brea's got to find a way to make his, even if he's not making his shots, make his plus minus not double digits like it feels like it has been the last 4 games.
Do you feel like our team shoots threes or layups and that's it?
The mentality is that's what you should be doing.
Yeah.
There shouldn't be any no middies. I mean, I grew up in an era where that's what you should like.
Didn't your 3rd grade coach teach you how to shoot the
right before the over and back? Yeah. But like you nowadays, if your big guy doesn't shoot a 3, you have a disadvantage. But I remember just even at the end of Gillespie's years into Calipari's first year, like Patrick Patterson, like that was that baseline 15-footer was money, and you wanted that.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you're told that that's bad. Like in terms of a possession, you win as a defense if that happens. I just think I'm old school. My brain, like I just think that's silly.
So you're good with the jumper.
I would prefer. I think points are points.
Which brings me up to a great question that I've been wanting to know.
Oh,
fadeaway J, Kobe Bryant or MJ? Because that's like a 15-footer.
I saw Kobe make them more just because I grew up in that
R.I.P.
era. Yeah. Although
I'll never get in a helicopter ever again because I've never been in one, but never will either. I don't trust them.
I have been in one, but I haven't since then, and I don't think it will be
Plan
anytime soon. Yeah. You're talking about. I just remember Jordan as a driver more.
Yeah.
In terms of how his play style was.
How old were you when Jordan was playing? Like -7 or something?
No. I had a Bulls bedroom like in elementary school because it was during that second wave, 95, 96, 97.
96, 97.
98. Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
It's okay.
Honestly, because I was the right age for Space Jam, like that was the guy to root for.
Yeah.
At this, so I was 88. I was about 8 to 10 years old, so it was a perfect time for liking. And then for some, I have to explain this, but there was an NBA at 50 documentary that my dad got me from Half Price Books on VHS. We're going to talk about real old school, but it is a history of the first 50 years of the NBA.
Huh. Was it in black and white?
No. But the first footage, but it was narrated and filmed. Talking to the audience was Denzel Washington talking about, and I was like, I learned so much because it's Denzel Washington, and it ends in the 90s with like.
Was Morgan Freeman not available? I feel like he's like
Visa grabbed him real quick, so that's like it's sad.
He's the automatic narrator. I want him to narrate my life when at my funeral. I want him to be like, "Oh, you're gonna cry so hard," and he's just gonna like narrate everything I did. So, do you think I'll live longer than him?
He's getting up there now.
Do you think we could like ice him down for my funeral?
We'll get the guy that has Disney's head on ice, whoever has that.
No clue what that means, but I'll look it up. When you're watching Face Off, I'll look up.
He's looking up the not Face Off.
It's head off, whatever. Okay. All right, so we're gonna beat Vandy by how many?
9. I think it's 9.
Okay, I'm gonna go 12.
Okay.
I feel pretty good.
$1, Bob. Boom. I win.
All right. We'll see everybody next week. I'm Bill.
I'm Chase.
And that's Wildcat Chat.